Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, clap your hands, stamp your feet, and slowly rub your privates. It's the Tidy Boys, Tidy 30 podcast.
Hi, we're the Tidy Boys.
Oh, you're doing the intro, are you?
Oh, no, it's your turn.
Thank you. It is my turn. It was in the contract. We're the Tidy Boys. This is the Tidy 30 podcast, and we return with a good friend of ours, Amadeus, a popular lad on the scene, I'd say. Talented DJ, producer, but a good laugh as well.
Yeah, I think we've only purely invited him because he is a good laugh. I think there's a backstory. I think there's more to this man than just the DJ. He's funny when I see him on the social media, and so he did write to me and said, I'm also funny in real life.
Yeah, and he became a bit of a phenomena due to the shed. Yeah, which we'll discuss. He is Jon Hemming, by the way.
Let's have a look at him.
Hi.
There he is, Jon Hemming, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
So, hi guys, Jon Hemming here. Thank you for inviting me.
Very, very welcome. So for people that don't know Jon Hemming, we are going to dig into your story, but in the world of hard house and dance music, you did become super successful for doing what you did in your shed, which we'll come on to. But we do like to go way back, don't we?
We like to go back from, well, not conception, but a couple of days.
You can go conception.
Well, do you know where you conceived then?
Your parents talked about how you were conceived.
Well, I know when my mum's waters broke.
Really? Do you know where you were conceived? Was it like a hotel in Torquay, that kind of thing?
I think it was exactly that, yeah.
Yeah.
Where was your mum's waters broke?
On a bus.
Really?
On a bus. She was on a bus from Redditch Town Centre going back home and her waters popped.
Really?
Yeah. And
Did she hold on or were you born on the bus?
Almost, but she was rushed off to Worcester Hospital and I was born in Worcester.
Oh, right.
So that was a bit of a mission, I imagine. Worcester to Redditch is quite hard.
That was my first question. Where were you born? And you were born in Worcester.
Yeah.
And your mum and dad were obviously into music. So tell us about your childhood.
Tell us about Jon Hemming.
Jon Hemming.
Yeah, so I think music, probably differently to a lot of the other family members, was always visceral for me.
Nice word.
A good word. Yeah. And I was born into the Metal Hall of Fame, Heavy Metal Hall of Fame. So my uncle's Ozzy Osbourne.
See, this is a great fact.
It's a cool fact. It's a claim to fame rather than it is a cool fact.
So your uncle is actually the Ozzy Osbourne?
Yeah, so John Osbourne, born in Aston, 3 brothers, 3 sisters, including my mum. And my earliest memory of music really was listening to either an Ozzy Osbourne track or a Black Sabbath track. And I just think it was, I remember it, I remember the feeling of that music. I don't know what it was at that point, but it was like, let's just move. I was probably 3, 4, maybe 5, even younger, I don't know, whatever. And it was just a good time, man. I remember.
But Ozzy Osbourne is an icon, isn't he? Globally.
Yeah.
Most folk.
Mad.
So your mum is Ozzy Osbourne's sister?
Yeah. My mum's the youngest sister and Ozzy is the youngest brother.
No,
he's not the youngest brother, is he? I can't remember.
If you picked the phone up now and rang Uncle Ozzy, would he go, John, how are you?
Absolutely not.
Would he not? When did you last see him?
We were talking probably. Well, I went to a big celebrity party with my brother. My brother was very well connected because he's 15 years older than me.
Right.
It sounds like a big gap actually, but it worked quite well because I've learned a hell of a lot from my brother. But we've gone to a big Osbourne's Christmas party, and that's the last time I saw them. So I met Elton John and blah blah blah.
Wow, this is a great start to the podcast, isn't it?
Yeah. He's got incredible hands. How he plays the piano, I don't know because I shook his hand.
Elton is not Ozzy.
Yeah,
right. You shook Elton's hand.
Ozzy's got hands like me.
Wow.
I shook Elton John's hand, and I was like, that man can't play the piano.
Small hands,
massive,
fat hands.
Oh, big
massive. Like think Prince Charles or King Charles.
Fat fingers.
They're fucking massive, man.
Wow.
They're like, wow. How he can pull a chord off, I don't know, because he's hitting all the keys.
That's incredible.
He's like Tommy Dick fingers.
Now, I'm fascinated by Ozzy. Let me just go back. Because actually back in the 80s, I was a bit of a rock lad.
Yeah.
So your mum, being the sister of Ozzy, any still connection there? Does she pick the phone up? She'll just say, John, how are you doing?
Yeah, well, no, that because it's like... for me, I'm kind of low ranked within the family. Also, I'm the black sheep playing hard house and techno and all this sort of shit. But within the family dynamic, I suppose my mum and my auntie connected to Ozzy, and they're all having a great time and a great conversation. And my brother, in a respect, so that he's a bit older, so it all kind of works. But I left home at 17 and joined the army, which is so far removed from this whole heavy metal craziness that, in fact, moving forward very quickly, somebody said to me once, the best thing you can do is do your own thing. Well, I've kind of always done that. I'm just a bit different to the rest of them.
But I love that as a start of the podcast. There we are, rock heritage. You are, you're in the bloodline.
I mean, I do love that sort of music as well, as it happens. I really do.
Okay, so born in Worcester.
Yeah, 1978.
1978.
Good year.
So we can fast track a little bit from childbirth to... So music was always there for you. And,
viscerally.
Viscerally.
Like in a perhaps an unusual way, which was unexplainable as a youth. Like, I used to cry at Tales of the Unexpected.
Did you? Scared?
Like the theme tune.
It's a brilliant theme tune, right?
Yeah.
Looking back now, I'm like, it's not that scary, but it used to make me move and feel, and that's horrifying. And adverts were a big thing back then, weren't they? So I'd have the adverts taped, and I'd just watch them back, going, "That's a tune."
Did you know that the Why You're Scared of Tales of the Unexpected was written by Ron Grainer, who actually wrote the theme tune to Doctor Who as well.
Doctor Who's a good tune as well.
It's a good fact, that.
Good rave remix as well.
Yeah, it's quite scary as well as a kid.
It's
Doctor
scary.
Who. That when that theme tune comes on in the 70s, a lot of kids actually hid behind the sofa. So
Well, that was me.
Yeah, but Tales of the Unexpected, it's quite iconic, isn't it?
It's iconic, and also even the intro was good. The cards.
Bit sexy.
With the
It
girls.
was very sexy, wasn't it? I loved it.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't watch this with my parents.
Yeah. So the way she moved.
Oh.
So you're into music very young, but what were you like as a schoolboy? Were you a naughty or were you clever?
No, I was neither of those. I was a very introvert for a very long time. So first school, I moved house, I remember, quite a lot as a youth. So it was in the same town, but it was between schools, and it was just a little bit disjointed. But then I think when we eventually settled in a place called Greenland, not that you bothered about that, I went to a school and kind of found my feet and started to find a social group, and that it's quite strange talking about it like that now, but at the time you don't think like that, do you? But I wasn't very overly popular. I was probably quite flamboyant, and just I moved through school, got to middle school, moved through school. I wasn't really that clever. I wasn't really interested in much. I was very, very good at art. I wanted to be a graphic designer, but that's a bit later.
Are you still good at art?
Yeah, probably. Well, yeah, I am, yeah.
Sketching?
Well, I can do that, yeah, but I haven't done it for... It's the birth of the internet and the birth of technology. You stop drawing, don't you? But yeah, I was going to be a graphic designer. That's what I was going to do. But I think it's all interconnected, to be quite honest. I think visuals and music and waveforms and sound and colour, blah, 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 is all one thing, which sort of is...
You're just creative, aren't you? You would say you're a creative. You think on the creative side of the brain.
Well, it's a wild creativeness as well. It's quite hard to control sometimes,
Well, you think you on the spectrum of creativity? Are you?
Well, I'm on a spectrum, surely.
Are you on? Would you say you're on the spectrum?
I'm on something.
Yeah. And no diagnosis.
No, but
because quite often creative people are somewhere like ADHD, ADD,
I'd agree with that. I
tick a few of those boxes. personally.
But I'm not. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. It's a part of my character, right?
Superpower, some would say.
Yeah.
So you're good at art.
Yeah, very good at art.
Sport.
Very, very good at sport.
Even though you say so yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I was literally, man of the match.
Oh, really? Really?
Maybe not.
What sport? Cricket?
No, it was basketball and athletics, but not through choice. This is where the change happened within school. It was probably halfway through middle school. I don't know if people have middle schools, but like where we're
Some
from,
still do,
where our town was very Americanized, so you didn't have primary and secondary. There was a middle school, and my PE teacher spotted that I was hyperactive, maybe looking back, and he said, "Right, get on that track and run." And I just happened to win, and it wasn't because I wanted to win; it's because I didn't like it and I wanted to get it done. Right. So I got it done. And he was like, "Right, you'll be doing the next race. Now you'll be doing the school. Now you'll be doing the county, blah, blah, blah." All of these. I was like, "Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, I'm not really into this running shit." But I did it. And I remember one time, it was probably the last year of middle school, I didn't want to go. And so I stayed in bed on a Saturday morning, and he comes smashing. It's different times, right? He was banging that door, and I was like, "There's a big bang." And my mum's like smoking a fag. I shouldn't say that. She won't like me for that. She's smoking a fag, fucking 6 a.m. in the morning. And the door's banging. She's like, "Oh my God, they're coming to collect the debt." It's not true. Opens the door and he fucking walks straight into the house. Because we had an upside down house. That's cool, isn't it? Straight down the stairs, into my bedroom, fucking dragged me out of bed, threw me in a car, put me in a kit and made me run around a track.
In your pants?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be allowed now, would it?
It wouldn't be allowed. No, that wouldn't
That's
be.
not the first time it happened either. In my high school, it happened again when I was playing rugby. It's fucking wild, isn't it?
PE
Anyway,
teachers.
It really is. PE
But I was
teacher.
great at athletics, great at rugby and basketball.
Running away from your PE teacher, it sounds like.
He was a lovely man.
Was he?
Very
Lovely man.
was.
Soft hands.
So you were good at sports, good at running, basketball, because you're quite tall. A lot of people can
Yeah.
see you on the camera if you're watching. He's sitting down at the moment. he's
She'll stand up. She'll stand up.
You made yourself laugh there, have you? You liked your own joke.
If I sit up straight, you can see.
No,
how
I didn't
big
want
am.
people. I didn't want people to think that we were sitting down and you were standing up.
Oh, you have made yourself laugh.
But you are actually sitting down. But he is quite tall. I was surprised the first time I met you. I thought, oh, he's tall.
Yeah, I was quite slim then as well, but
Oh, I think you're just perfect.
I am. Thank you.
Apart from sport, what happened when you left school then? So you weren't going to obviously go to college or anything?
Well, I went to sixth form. So what happened was just before sixth form, I discovered music, or I never had a concept of genres at this point. So I was always into heavy metal, Guns N' Roses, Black Sabbath, and the likes of that. And a lot of our friends were wearing rock T-shirts, and we were just trying to be a little bit. I guess it's what they would call emo now.
Yeah.
And I was going through all of this, and I started to get popular after the athletics and the sport, because that's how it works, right?
Yep.
So I didn't really know much about socialising until you had something to give back.
Yep.
So I guess that's probably a pivotal moment. But yeah, so I did a thing. I discovered rave music. A guy had given me one of my friends had given me a tape. I think it was Top Buzz. Just, you've heard the Top Buzz lyrics and that, and I was like, oh, this is really good. My best mate at the time, Craig, his mum gave me a Prodigy tape.
His mum?
His mum did, yeah. Gave me a
Cool
Prodigy
mum.
tape. Yeah, well, because we were into Guns N' Roses at the time, which was actually not that cool. She gave me this Prodigy tape after I'd listened to Now, whatever number it was. There was a remix of a Prodigy track, and I went, I fucking love this track. And she went, oh, if you like that, listen to this.
Yeah.
The second I heard that tape, I was like, we're in. We are in. I'm still an avid Prodigy fan even now. Keith, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where it happened. So just before leaving high school, the whole music thing had took me, and I had a different effect. So that, like organic music, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
So metal, instruments has a thing. There's a thing there. It's kind of round and it's bubbly, whatever you want to call it. But electronic music seems to tap into the construct of this.
Yep.
And I'm like, this is something else, man. And the Prodigy were doing it very well at the time, and it's still quite fresh. So experience is quite fresh back then. Anyway, I got hold of that. Then there was the Levi's adverts are doing great adverts. And I started to think, well, I'm listening to this electronic music thinking I can probably work somehow creatively with this, because at the time I was very into the art and all that.
Yeah.
And that kind of brain was kind of going through a little bit of a transference into the dance music because it was so fresh. And the Levi's advert at the time was Spaceman.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And at that time, the track that was released was fucking dog shit.
Babylon Zoo.
Babylon Zoo, that's it.
Yeah.
Babylon
Weird,
Zoo
yeah.
needs to fucking get on the bench.
Yep.
But the breakdown in Babylon Zoo was the advert. So I chopped it up. I did a pause record, chopping it up, remixing it. I didn't know this was a thing. And I went, right, I've done the advert. And I took it to school on loads of tapes on my Alba, grey Alba stereo. I'd made loads of tapes. I went, right, handing it out. And straight away I was like, cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, music man, DJ man.
Yeah. I never had Levi jeans at that time, but eventually we got them. Felt special.
But that's what a lot of producers do. They start with, and I'm sure Andy's the same. You play around with tapes and you remixing tracks, don't you, and editing them and then mega mixing them. So that's the first
mega mix, yeah.
Yeah, that's the first step into it, isn't
But
it?
at that very young age, it wasn't like I was I wasn't presented with these techniques or anything. It was something I'd worked out. And then later in life, in fact, quite recently, listening to all the podcasts, I'm realising everybody's doing pause record mixes. I'm like, I thought I invented that shit. You know what I mean?
No.
But it's a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was like, wow.
It's a step into production, I think.
But it's a beautiful thing to discover rather than to find out. You know what I mean? And I really appreciate it.
You were an innovator, John.
Well, I felt like it.
Were you popular with the girls then at that point as a late teenager? Were you?
Yeah, well,
Or the boys.
Or the boys?
not the boys at the time. More so nowadays.
But the girls, so you're 16, puberties, you got hairs.
Tall.
Yeah, well, I had sideburns.
Beard, probably.
No, I wish I
Girls
did.
are all over you.
Yeah, it's quite. Yeah.
Kids go sheepish.
It's got to seem. Look, you don't have to talk about losing your virginity on the show.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a question.
I'll tell you if you want. You ask me a question, I'll give you an answer.
Go on
So
then. What age did you lose virginity?
Oh, fucking hell.
Was it at school? Was
I
it?
should give her a name as well. I should drop the name.
Well, as long as it's not a second name. Was the name Julie?
No, but I'm one of them people, and I got a story for everything. Julie is my mother-in-law's name.
Yeah.
It wasn't Julie, was it?
Was it your mother-in-law?
No, but I've actually got another story about that. But
Go on, then.
I've got to stop there. But yeah, the girl I lost my virginity to was a girl called Sarah. She was all right. She dumped me the day after. I'm not surprised.
Oh, dear.
She might be listening.
Oh, no, she's blocked me and all that shit probably. Oh, we talked for in the early days of Facebook, but she's gone. But yeah, my bedroom, because I had, my parents were very untrusting of me, but I had glass windows on my bedroom door, so it wasn't a solid door.
That's
It was
awkward.
glass windows.
That's awkward as a teenager.
Well, I still lost my virginity. It's fucking.
But no privacy,
They could see you through. Was it with that
Yeah,
sort
it's like wobbly windows.
so they
Yeah.
could just see the movement of your young ass moving up around.
But more importantly, obviously, as a young teenager, you're probably also pleasuring yourself as well. So they're going to see you, you know.
With your glove on.
Magic with Disney glove.
Oh, that's a shame, isn't it? Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
she
moving on.
dumped me. It's probably the window that was happening. Probably my fucking mum looking through the window.
Oh dear. So you're
Shouldn't
popular
swear.
at school. You've done the
swear.
girl thing. You've had sex. You're leaving school. You didn't go to
Discovered
college.
music.
Discover music.
Yeah.
What next for Jon Hemming? What next?
At that point, so what was I?
17.
I was 16, 17. So I did sixth form, but then shortly after I joined the army, I was going through a bit of a phase of like, well, what can I do? What do I want to do? I did my work experience in graphic design at a company called Harrison Creative. Actually, Harrison Creative, they made me do a project, right? And to this day, I'm telling you, that project has been used on what I did, but obviously I can't claim it. It was like an American calf. Like the old American calves. It was a three stripes, red, white and blue. American diner. I designed it all on a big storyboard. It's boring as hell, to be honest, and that's why I didn't carry it on. But I've parked up in my truck at the American diner that I designed. I'm telling you, I did that.
Really?
I'm telling you.
Well, maybe there's a claim.
Is
Well,
it the OK Diner, is it?
The OK Diner, you know the one?
On the A1?
It was the OK Diner I designed, yeah. You know the one? I designed.
There's two on the A1.
on the A1, aren't they?
There's a couple on the A1, and there's one towards Wales if you go through, I can't remember.
Oh, well, there's your claim to fame. So next time I go in OK Diner, I'll think of you, John.
Yeah.
So you joined the army. Now, I know Andy's fascinated with the army stories. Have you got any good army stories you can tell us? Because
Yeah.
we heard there's lots of things going on.
In the army, what specific
Or what rank?
element of the army?
Well, I reached Lance Corporal, and it was at that point that I didn't want to start bossing my mates about. But I joined in. I don't know why dates are so difficult. I do block out dates, but I probably joined in 96, 97, and left in 2002. I was in the Royal Signals. The hard times were doing basic training because you are literally trained to kill. I can kill a person with 2 fingers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Even
stop.
as a signal type person?
Hell yeah.
All right.
I was attached to a para unit. Yeah, listen, what I can do with 2 fingers will please or hurt anyone.
Ooh.
How can you kill somebody with 2 fingers?
You don't want to ask that question, Amadeus. You won't get out of the podcast.
It is possible to do that, though. I mean, I see it on Star Trek where they put the finger on the neck. Is it that?
Star Trek's got a lot to account for.
Is it
I
some...
can't tell you.
No, you can't tell you. It's secret.
Carry
on,
if
John.
you want to know, it'll be end of the podcast.
Okay, all right, carry on.
So, basic training, carry on.
So basic training was very difficult for me because, I was a bit of a tearaway, I guess, at school. I was just a fun-loving sort of trying to be more popular after the music thing, But we did basic training. That's 3 months. Sorry. Did basic training for 3 months, and I was on the phone to my mum, I wrote a lot of letters to my mum. She's got them still now, and I'm like, I can't believe I wrote that.
Oh, really? Help, get me out.
Missing.
But one for the book, though. One for the book.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just wild. It's like they give you an allowance, so you are earning money, but they give you an allowance, and then you get a big payout at the end. It's not very much, but it was just crazy. It's like I'm not really a camping sort of person, but I just remember the absolute pain in my hands from digging trenches in the freezing cold, and then hot and cold sort of thing when you're sweating, and then you're freezing and stuff like that. That was wild. Then I got posted to Bulford, which is near Salisbury, which was, I did a lot of socialising in Salisbury, and there was a place called Sticky Carpets in Amesbury, which was exactly what it sounds like.
A nightclub.
Pub. A thing that should be a nightclub, but isn't.
Right.
And there was lots of interesting experiences in that club. Army vibes. And then I got to Aldershot and got attached to a para unit in a tank regiment and travelled to Slinky every single week without
Down to
fail.
Bournemouth.
All right, so the clubbing, all the clubbing stuff kicked in while you're in the army.
I learnt to DJ in the army.
Oh, do tell.
Yeah, so there's a guy called Steve Vose who I believe, I know at the time was a very, very close friend to Eddie Halliwell. And he told me that every day.
Yeah.
No offence, Steve, if you're listening. But he was a good friend of his. But what it was that I do believe actually that they were obviously, because I don't think Eddie was that massive at the time as well. He was breaking through at the time, so that would have been probably 99, 2000. So he was big, wasn't he? But he was.
It was 2001. 2002. I think Eddie broke because we put him on the first weekender lineup, and I think we paid 50 quid for him. So he was. He was.
So
very,
we're in that sort of time region, right?
Yeah.
But like, I think Bosch had already come out. I think Bosch had already come because that's the only scratch I can do.
Yeah.
Right.
But he taught me how to do that, and he taught me how to mix. And every time he went, because we were different squadrons, so he'd do his thing. And when he was gone, I'd get in his room and get on his decks. And he had a CDJ
100.
100. Is that the first one? The
silver one.
Yeah,
the silver one. Yeah.
Yeah. And it had the jet effect, so I was mixing. I mean, it's mad now because I don't rarely do that. I either play vinyl or digital, but I was mixing between the two, playing tidy tracks, early tidy tracks, and it was almost like a little bit of an induction into, because it weren't called hard house. I'll stand my ground and say at the time we didn't know it was hard house. Tidy tracks was tidy tracks. It was banging music, and we were loving it. And it was like stuff like Sandstorm 2001.
Yeah.
Sandstorm into a tidy tracks track, into this, into that, into this. And while he was away, I learnt to mix. It was mad. He never really, he showed me for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But while he was gone, every waking moment I was there. And also back in the day, you'd think differently, right? You'd do it and you'd go away and you'd be overthinking, thinking. You're thinking about how to do it, and then you come back and then you do what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
And so, like, it wasn't just I'm practicing. I'm always practicing, whether I'm sat in bed or driving a truck or whatever. And so that's where the DJing started, and the clubbing, and the madness, and the.
So the go-to club then was
Slinky for me. Well, there was also Enzo's in Salisbury. Do you remember Enzo's?
No.
No. So Enzo's was a 10-minute taxi drive down from Bulford Barracks. And we'd go there, and you'd have people like Vinyl Groover. So I played pool with Vinyl Groover. Didn't know who he was.
Scott Attrell.
Yeah, it might have been.
That's
He's
his
great
name.
at pool. He's great at pool. Yeah, hi Scott.
Did you find yourself while you're in the Bournemouth area going to Cheeky Little Monkey?
Oh, Cheeky Little Monkeys was a big one for me. Yeah. Do you know what I loved about Cheeky Little Monkey was the phrase "No trance, please, we're British."
Yes.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
It was controversial, and I kind of carry that on actually in my.
Well, we got booked, and I remember the day we got booked for Cheeky Little Monkey, and we got the contract through, and it did say at the bottom of the contract, Tidy Boys booking, the fee, where it is, and it said, you should not play any trance. Do you remember? They would not let us play trance. I mean, not that we did anyway. I mean, the hot contention was Signum, because some people didn't know whether it was trance or whether
and
it was
the Dawn.
house. And
the Dawn as well.
Course,
Funny enough, I spoke to Chief Monkey, Ash, today, and he was like, yeah, the Dawn's a trance track. I went, no, it's not. It's hard house. We had a little bit of a battle about it. Because there weren't, at the time for me, there were no
genres.
As a raver, there were no genres. This makes me feel like this, and that makes me feel like that. And the fundamental difference between the Dawn and trance is the overall vibe. It's not just the trancey breaks or the riffs or the leads. This is a hard banging hard house track, whether you like it or not.
Yep.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
It's an absolute belt it forever.
Yeah, and I think you're right. The Dawn, particularly the first Dawn on the Trade EP, was probably a bit more trancey, but the Paul James remix toughened it up with the Hoover
Yeah,
in the
I love
middle.
it,
But yeah, Cheeky
It's a
Little Monkey.
template for all.
I mean, Cheeky Little Monkey is still a fond favourite of ours, as was Slinky, because we always say that Slinky was the big one for us. We really did want to play that. So you're in the army, but you're doing raving.
This is where it started, yeah.
So were you good in the army? Did you get into any scrapes, any difficult times in the army?
Oh dear.
Go on.
I think probably I adopted a rebellious attitude, and I thought, well, you're going to try and control me this much. I'm going to try and break every rule in the book. So I had a tongue piercing. That would be wild, wouldn't it, in the army?
Yeah.
So I'm on parade with and I used to talk. I've got a lisp already, which is a bit of a problem, right? I've spat all over this mic, and I'm like, you're getting shouted at, and you just got to keep your trap shut and not show your little shiny little tongue piercing. The girls loved it.
Did they?
But obviously not in the army, not allowed. So I had a tongue piercing. I'd go on tour to Cyprus. I went to Canada, and I just wanted to be there and experience all these countries and all what's to offer. And especially in Cyprus, you weren't allowed to go to places, but I'm going to do it.
Oh.
It's like I wasn't, you know.
Oh, so
talking about it now, I'm not really that proud of it, but
What happened in
going
Cyprus?
AWOL.
yeah, well, I didn't go AWOL. I just had a fucking good time.
So explain, what does that look like?
Yeah, so you weren't allowed to go to Ayia Napa. I think some major tragedy had happened to Ayia Napa, but there's also Limassol and other places, and Akatiri. You're allowed in Akatiri because that's where we were based. But I've done the whole country, even though we weren't allowed. But yeah, me and my friend Lee, we'd go out, we'd drink loads of beer and look at tits.
So were you not allowed off barracks?
You're allowed off barracks to certain places, but you couldn't go to out of bounds areas. But those are the areas you want to go.
Did you get away with it?
Well, yeah, until a point, until my friend tried to fucking burn the taxi down.
Oh.
I don't know why. He's just
Tried
one
to
of
burn
those.
was he drunk?
Yeah. I don't know what happened, but he was trying to light the back of the taxi chair.
Oh.
Anyway, that obviously created a major chaos. We got locked up in a
So
cell.
you did actually set fire to a taxi?
Yeah, and I'm like,
And it went up in flames?
I'm like, there's a little bit of a spark, yeah. Like when fake leather starts to burn, it doesn't smell very good. And yeah, I found myself in a cell in I can't remember if it was Limassol. It weren't Ayia Napa, but it was somewhere out of bounds.
What was that like?
Well, if you imagine, I don't know if you've been in a cell before.
No.
I have in Redditch actually. I was an accomplice to shoplifting with a friend. It wasn't me. I'm not that type of guy. But he stole some silly string.
Silly string. Edgy.
Well, anyway, I was only a kid and my mum had to pick me up. We digressed. But anyway, I came out of prison. I was like, well, that's quite a nice cell until you've been in the Cyprus cell.
Okay.
And I'm like, fucking hell, this is a torture chamber. And there's more chips in the wall, more holes in the wall, cavities, and blood and filth. And the bed was like, well, it weren't a bed. It was just a thing. It was savage. Well, we're both sat in there, and the MPs had to come and get us, military police, and a world of shit ensued. But obviously, I'm pretty good at talking, right? I don't know if you noticed. And I managed to get out of trouble, saying I was just sat in the passenger seat, and I didn't.
You say it's Lee's fault, not mine.
It weren't me.
You just grassed Lee up.
Well, I didn't say anything. Kept my trap shut and said, well, I was just sat here like that. Oh my God, lighter.
Well, to be fair, it was Lee with a lighter.
Well, I mean, exactly. I only deal in facts.
But you were in the wrong place, though, to be fair.
I'm always in the wrong place, am I not?
So when you're in, just a quick question about the army. You're in the army for 5 years. It's a lot of men, isn't it? And it's a lot of men.
That's quite interesting.
Do you get?
And women, though, I suppose.
Yeah, and where I was, yeah.
But you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to do it with the women, are you?
Why not?
Oh, I didn't know if you were not allowed to interact.
It's not
Of
the
course
church.
you are, man. Of course you are, yeah.
You're allowed to have it off with a girl in the army.
Yeah.
Have off with anybody you like. Although that wasn't allowed whilst I was in. But just as we were leaving, that you were allowed to have it off with who you liked.
Right. So
Yeah.
a gay relationship was suddenly accepted.
Finally allowed. But I was in the Royal Signals. It was very liberal, if you will. The Royal Signals is not necessarily the infantry or proper like man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few women, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I bet there was, but mainly men.
Your mind's racing.
Tell me more about this infatuation, Amadeus.
You're imagining yourself in the showers.
Do you know, Amadeus, you'd really love it. Loads of men.
Yeah.
Do they do it in the
Who, the men?
in the army? Yeah.
Nah.
You've never witnessed two men.
Well, there was two guys who were accused of it, and it wasn't a very nice situation for those guys, to be fair. I don't think they were. They were just a bit effeminate. I mean, I'm effeminate, right?
I think it's the Navy. It really happens in them submarines.
Yeah, but they have great chefs as well, so they can do what they want. Good food, great ass.
So there's the army. You've been arrested. Military police pull you out. You weren't discharged then?
No, because I didn't do anything wrong. Do anything wrong. But yeah, it was just and also you want to try and keep all that shit out of the army world. He was just socialising, and he probably got in trouble. In fact, he stayed in the army for probably 12, 13 years, I think. He's done really well. He became sergeant. He's done all right. But there were times when I was with him, he was an absolute rebel. And we're still friends now. We still talk. He's a good mate, even though we've been through some mad experiences, you know.
So army and music's happening simultaneously. So what happens once we leave the army?
So, I signed off. I thought it was a good idea to sign off. I'd had enough. Well, basically what had happened is the job that I had was a telecommunications radio relay, which is basically your mobile phone. You're just sorting out links to camp. But it took a 15-ton truck back then, and mobile phones weren't invented. Then the Motorola was invented with your 2 AA batteries. We had one. We phoned our mate, turn your antenna this way, job done, 5 minutes. Where it would take hours and hours normally just to go in. 3 degrees left, 3 degrees right, over.
Oh, wow.
But that was over straight away. It's finished. And I was like, well, you've got two choices, retrade or leave. And I went, I'm out of here. I'm gone. Music's starting to get good. I'm starting to mix. I left. I stayed in a place called Camberley. So I did a year. I went to Canada, actually. Did some clubs in Canada. And during that year, because you have to take a year to sign off to leave. So I did that year, then I left. But in Canada, some great clubs. You've probably been.
We have, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. They had beds in the club.
Oh, we never
Crazy.
played in a
Calgary.
bed.
We played in Calgary, didn't we?
Calgary and Edmonton were the two places we used to play in Canada. But yeah, great clubbing scene back in the early 2000s.
Well, it's 2001 actually. That was
Yeah, early
9/11. Got another story about that. Because the plane apparently crashed into. This is probably quite sensitive actually. The plane that came from Canada that hit the towers. And I'd got because it was on the 11th of September, and my birthday is the 12th. Tony DeVitt's same birthday, just to let you know. And so on the day before, I was in the back of a Land Rover, and before it hit the news, it came through all of our radios to say, this has happened. And we went, no, it never. This is an exercise. Yeah, so then it was all the exercise was shut down, and then we had to go back to camp, and I'm watching the news at this mad stuff. And but
you'd already had info about it.
I'd already found out about it the day before.
Wow.
Because it came from, apparently came from Canada. I mean, I was meant to go home the week after, but they were like, no more army, no more this, no more that. You've got another 3 months to do whatever you want. Relax, guys. Don't stress. Mental health and all that stuff, you know. Because it was pretty fucking scary.
Yeah, very.
It was scary at the time, wasn't it, for anyone?
Yeah, it was scary.
I was in it, man. I was almost in it.
Wow. So you're...
We digress, sorry.
No, go back to your clubbing here. So you're in Canada. At this point, have you ever seen Tony DeVit play? Have you heard of Tony DeVit?
Of course. So I was about 17, so I was in the army. And so a real inspiration for me was my brother, just to go back a little bit. And he introduced me to a lot of music, but he also took me to a few parties as well. Now, he didn't introduce me to Tony DeVit, but what he did is give me the confidence to go to events and clubs. And Redditch, compared to Birmingham, is about 35 minutes in the car, but about an hour and a half walk, 2 hours walk. But I remember one time I'd gone out on the town wearing my brother's partner's coat, a big fluffy brown coat. And I tried to get into Moneypenny's, couldn't get in, because even though my cool coat was cool as hell to get into this club, they were like, no, your shoes are not good enough. They were my school kickers, to be fair. They wouldn't let me in. So we wandered about Birmingham, tried to get into Wobble. He said, your coat's too fluffy.
Oh, no.
How dare you? It's my brother's partner. We found our way to Pulse. So we're getting on a bit now through the night, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
I got in there, and I'd already been into music and rave, particularly, not knowing what it was. But I'd gone into Pulse. I walked across that fancy 90s carpet. Got the little balcony, and there's a few steps down, and you're looking over. It's quite a big looking club. Quite a cheesy looking club, actually, now I look back. However, there was just some crazy music going on, just house music, but it was bit more edgy, if you will. Maybe a bit harder, but it wasn't what you would call funky house at the time. It wasn't. It was less groove, more energy. Anyway, I'm sat next to this random. I got myself a beer with the £10 pocket money that I had, and not much left. Taxi home's going to be difficult. And then this fella jumps on the decks with hair not too dissimilar to mine, but without a beard, kind of trying to channel that look. And it was different. It was not just different, but from the first kick was, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it now. That first kick, that first bass drop, that first mix, which was I didn't know at the time, I felt like this is the same track through the night, but he just keeps changing elements. I was like, because I'm already in that way of thinking where I'm thinking about music on a creative level. I'd done that mixtape thing. I'm like, what is going on here? I can't differentiate between the one before and the one after, but it's changing all the time. And it's just going on and going on. Then these big Euro sort of trance leads were hitting, and these really iconic, looking back, iconic vocals were hitting, and the hairs on my arms are going wild. I'm like, what the fuck is this? My friends have gone to the bar, they're drinking shots or whatever. And I speak to this girl next to me. She looked like she knew what she was doing. Looking back, and I went, hey, who's this? She went, what, don't you know? I went, no. Should I? She went, that's fucking Tony DeVitt.
Brilliant.
And I was like, fucking hell. So I remembered it, and I was like, oh my God, Tony DeVitt. Very next week or weekend or whatever, close, I'd gone straight into our price, bought a trade EP, bought the next one. I was like, not the EP, album. And I was like, I am absolutely hooked. Now, for me, that was my introduction to hard house.
Right.
Yeah.
On a whole nother level to all of the good shit I'd heard. It wasn't rave. It certainly weren't rave, and it certainly weren't house. It certainly weren't any of these other genres. It was just a thing. That's what it was. It's just something else, man. It was something else, and I just feel like that's why we are. Well, why I am. It was the answer to all of my craziness.
Yes.
But it also gave me focus as well. I was like, why is nobody else doing this? You know, and obviously as the years went on, a lot of people were inspired by that, but there's nobody like Tony. Whether you could drop any, but you can never recreate that feeling.
And was at Pulse, was that Sunday Central?
It was Sunday Central. It was a Sunday Central event, but again, I didn't really know any of this at the time. It was at that moment that I was indoctrinated into it all. And I was underage as well, so it felt extra special. I was 16, I think, 17. It's fucking wicked.
Magical times. So
I feel it all the time.
So we've jumped back there, but we're going to jump back forward then. So we need to work out now. When you left the army, did tough times happen, or what happened after that?
Well, I left the army and I stayed in. I lived in Camberley. It was at Camberley where I met Adam Dixon. I'm sure you know who Adam Dixon is. AFD, Adam fucking Dixon. But it wasn't where I met him. I met him at God's Kitchen Global Gathering. You know, it was one day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's great, that was. But it's one of the first festivals I'd ever been to. And I just actually bumped into him and then got chatting. And he was like, oh my God, we've so much in common. I was like, where'd you live? Camberley. Fucking hell, so do I. And we just hit it off. But at that time when I'd left the army, money was a bit tough. I was doing security and a security job. And I'd go to his house on a Wednesday, come to my house on a Tuesday, we'd have a little mix-up. Bought a load of kit from Hard to Find Records on credit. Got myself in more and more debt. I wasn't in the army anymore. Because you're not taught when you leave the army to manage your life, because every penny you get in the army is expendable because everything is paid for.
Yes.
So you're smashing your best life in the army. I'm not going to lie. You might be trained to kill, but you're not really trained to live. Which I had to learn the hard way. So things started to progress and get worse and worse. You know, I'd rather spend money on records from our price in Camberley Town Centre than actually eat or pay rent, and that's not sustainable.
No.
And I'm sure. Listen, I'm not the only one, guys. I'm really not the only one. So don't pretend that you're not. But when music is everything, and you've made a connection like Adam Dixon, and all you want to do is play a better record than him on a Tuesday night, you're like, don't fucking care about eating. I'm going to play it to him, whether he likes it or not. Well, we spiraled. We'd go slinky still. We'd do this. We had a good group of friends. We're all pretty well behaved as well. But obviously money got a bit tight, and I just couldn't live there anymore. So yeah, it was good times.
When you say it spiralled, how bad did it get? Were you like just eating pot noodles and?
Well, exactly that. It was. We used to share a pot noodle. 50p pot noodles were. You could probably get 50p on sale now, but at the time it was 50p. Chicken and mushroom pot noodle. We'd share it. Same fork, because washing up was a pain in the arse. We'd share it. We'd piss in the sink because I had a sink in my room.
I'm just picturing you and Adam Dixon, and I'm not belittling the situation by any means, because
it was exactly what you think.
But I'm just trying to picture you both sharing a fork, eating a pot noodle.
Absolutely starving. There you go, Adam.
you were feeding him.
I fed him.
You fed him, and
I did. He's a lovely lad. He's one of my best mates.
But so what were you doing? You spunking all your money on records and stuff?
Yeah, records, booze, paying for the decks, which I couldn't afford, because credit was easy to get. As wild it was.
Yeah.
Probably because I was ex-army as well. They thought I was minted, but I wasn't. Anyway, that all started to spiral, and I was like, well, while I went home to get fed and get Sainsbury's shopping, my dad was great. He'd look after me. I'd come back with a boot full of food. Adam would then leave my flat and go back to where he was living, and yeah, it was like that. We'd just do that. I'd go away. He'd sleep in my room house. He left it clean as well. It's good. Yeah, I've no worries about getting the UV light.
Was it a happy time? Looking back, because they always say when you look back, you only remember the good times, not the bad times. Was it a happy time or a shit time?
It wasn't shit. It wasn't shit. It was a struggle, but it wasn't shit. It was a creative paradise, if nothing else. I mean, the mixing, the music, the whole culture of music. We were so deep into this absolute, like nothing else mattered. Like food doesn't matter. No, nothing matters. It was like, you're coming to mine on Tuesday, I'm coming to yours on Thursday. We're going out at the weekend, and I'm cycling to Redditch from Camberley. No, Reading. I'm cycling to Reading from Camberley, there and back on a bike, and I'm cycling to Reading to do my security job, and then back after my 12-hour shift. But that wasn't even a thing I'm thinking about. I'm like, that costs nothing. That's more money for records. And we're going to have a good time on Tuesday.
And what were your go-to records? Was this triply nucleus tidy?
Triply tidy nucleus. You'd get the odd white label. There's also a track that was really prominent during our Tuesday sessions was a track called Sunglasses at Night. Not even Hard House. Do you remember?
Tall Paul.
Is it Tall Paul?
Did you know that?
I wear my sunglasses at night.
Oh no, I'm thinking of it. There was a track by Sunglasses Ron, which was by Tall Paul. So yeah. But yeah, so your big tracks, big tracks at the time were obviously the three big labels. I suppose were Nucleus, Tidy, and Tripoli. Were the three big labels to go to. So what about your first taste of Tidy? Was it a Weekender? Was it a Magna? What was your first taste?
My first. So I got sacked from the security job. Not just for buying my first Tidy track, which was Cyclone Good Side, which is still today one of my favourite tracks of all time.
Which mix, the Andy Farley or the Guyver?
Andy Farley. The other mix is all right. It's good. Guyver. Good track. But that was another for me. Like I was listening to all the other stuff before, but this had a rolling vibe to it, and I was like, oh, I'm in. Anyway. But I got sacked from that job for looking at porn on the computers.
No,
because I bought that track on the. I used to work for. I forgot the name. It's a big computer company. You'd know it if I said it. But I was a security there. But on the night shift, I'd just go on the computers and just log in and just buy records and look at porn.
Buy records and look at porn.
Did they catch you? Or
well, I left the browser open like an idiot.
They didn't catch you in action doing anything unnecessary.
Well, probably, yeah.
They left the browser open. There was no private browsing at that point.
Well, I don't really know. I just wasn't that educated in computers at the time. It is
clear your history.
I didn't know that. I didn't know what history was. I was just like, some fucking banging tits and Hard House.
Wow. So they sacked you for porn. You're into Tidy. Any signs of wanting to DJ, or had you DJ'd out at this point?
Yeah, so we were in the army, weren't we? So I was learning to mix then. And then
first gig, what was it?
Me and Adam were mixing loads, and then I got my first gig at Rock City in Nottingham, which was a fucking disaster. I was practicing all the records. I played. My brain.
Big club, isn't it?
It's a big club, but the trouble with that club, it's a big rock venue, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've got the main stage and the dance floor, but then the DJ box is right up here.
Yeah, we've played there.
Yeah, so like the monitors were shit. This is doing its own thing down here, and I'm like, yeah, I can't mix ever. again.
Right. So
Ever again.
Was it a technical disaster?
It was a complete amateur, naive disaster.
Did it put you off?
Big time.
Really?
Big time. And then Andy Whitby came on after me, and I finished my set soon. He dropped his big CDJ shiny thing on and went beep, 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 and all this fancy shit. And I was like, wow. I've even spoke to Andy Whitby about it, and he went, yeah, I remember that. And I'm like, I really don't want you to remember it. He's like, yeah, I remember meeting you for the first time. I was like, oh, fucking hell.
But everybody has a desire. Although our first gig was good, I think. Our first gig as the Tidy Boys was in
Jersey.
March.
Out of This World, was it called?
Yeah, Out of This World, March 1999. And I remember ringing up E&M before we played, saying, we've got our first gig as the Tidy Boys tonight. Any advice? He said no. And we played our first set, and it was probably the only one we'd thought about. The first time in our long career that we'd actually not planned, but thought about what we're going to play.
Rehearsed slightly.
And we went down really well. I really enjoyed it. I remember finishing when the lights come on, ringing Ian and said, we went down really well. And he went, all right. Put the phone down.
Then our second gig was actually Cape Town, wasn't it? Johannesburg.
12,000 people.
Yeah.
In
Second
South,
gig?
And
with Anne Savage.
I know.
Wow.
Because we'd obviously been producing and running the label for 5 years, which progressed us to DJing. And whilst we'd DJ'd individually before, but to go and do that level of gig, and you're on vinyl, aren't you? So there's jeopardy involved.
Yeah, Jeopardy people love it, don't they?
Just us and Anne Savage. And she was obviously quite a big DJ at the time. And first time he kissed her, I think, in South Africa.
Yeah, that's another story. Yeah.
That's for another day. I think we'll have a podcast where the Tidy Boys just... the confessions
My
of the
fling
Tidy
with Anne
Boys.
Savage.
I need a piss, guys. Can I go for a wee?
Actually, if you can, because what I'll do
edit
is,
it.
if we,
You're dying for a piss.
Yeah, I'm absolutely busting for a
Right, go for a wee.
Yeah, go.
You go for a wee then.
Hey, guys.
there's nobody in
You
there.
can get back in. Right, we'll talk. Go on,
No,
all right.
it's all right. I'll do an edit at 51.
Well, you've had a
minutes,
few pints, haven't you?
and we'll get back. We'll build up to the shed.
We'll
experience.
talk. I say we can talk. We can talk. Yeah, we need to do that. But just pull it. It's
Just
hard.
pull it.
No, that's it. Good boy. Well done. Yeah, we could talk about it. can't we?
Now he's gone.
Yeah.
John's gone for a piss, and we're going to talk about him. Well, how do you think he's doing?
I think he's doing all right. He's got some stories, hasn't he? He's kind of one of those guys that you ask him a question, you'll get a straight answer.
What questions should we ask him? Let's tease him up before.
Well, we do need to go into the shed-based stuff, don't we?
You got your big question at the end.
Got my big question at the end.
What else can we ask him? Can we ask him anything funny?
Yeah. Oh, that was quick. Have you been?
Have you been?
Bloody hell. That was very quick.
That was the quickest piss in Europe. We just empty the bag. Sit down. It hurt that much.
When I was there shaking my leg, I thought this is unacceptable.
That's great. We just chatted while you were away.
It would have been quite funny for you to
Probably
actually.
leave it in, couldn't you?
Well,
Yeah,
Probably
we
leave
will.
that in.
We will.
we could be quite funny for you to piss yourself on the podcast.
Yeah, I was that close.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, I can't give you my full attention
you could
until I've had this piss.
But now you're
I'll
back
tell
in
you
the
what,
room.
I've got more stories for you.
Go on then. What are we? Because you were
So where
thinking
did we
about.
get to? Your first gig was Rock City. You were shit.
Yeah.
I was very,
so
very
what
bad.
happened then? So let's go from there to the bit that you had to do in between to get into
The shed.
you as
So-
a successful DJ.
So I finished with the girl that I was with. We split up. And that was my cue to get out of debt and move home. And so I've got a really good family in terms of good morals and that. So they didn't like, although they rescued me, I lived back at my parents' house, got myself out of debt, paid them rent because that's the only way to live. Right, don't take the piss. And really I mean, on a sad wavelength, I learnt how to live because I'd left the army and I just rinsed it until I couldn't because I didn't understand it, I don't think.
Yep.
But I got home, learnt the very basics of life, which sounds ridiculous as I say it to you now, because really that's just day-to-day living, right? But I got myself out of debt. My parents taught me that, and I eventually moved out because I'd met Shaun. And Shaun is my wife, by the way. She basically saved my life because I was in a world of depression when I'd moved back. Can you imagine, like, you've had this army career, you failed at living outside of the army, you failed at living in the flat that you were in, and then you're now living with your parents aged 26, 7.
Right.
So then I went out on a friend's stag do, and she went, no offence, guys, she went, I'll have the one with the hair. I had magnificent hair.
Magnificent. You still have to. If
It's quite good. It's like a bit of a rug at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
She went, I'll have the one with the hair because all my friends had minimal hair. And she was really necking with me, like kissing me and shit. I was like, I don't even know this girl. She's only young. She's only 19. It's a bit.
Oh, right. So you've got an age difference.
Well, yeah.
between
So
you.
I was 26. She was 19. I was like,
Whoa,
a
results.
bit young, isn't she? A bit of massive tits.
Lovely stuff. Keep talking. Go on.
Say
Keep
that. She had just these magnificent breasts.
Magnificent's a good word for breasts.
She's a beautiful woman. Still. That sounds undermining. She's a magnificent woman at the end.
Yes.
And, well, we had our date. I obviously wanted to, like, go further.
Right, yes.
So I managed to get her back to...
Back to her.
Go on.
I
Keep
managed to
going.
get back to my mum's house in the room with the windows.
Oh, no, not back
Same
there
room.
again.
And I was like...
Is this on the night that you met?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
well
I managed to get these magnificent breasts out. Said too much, and she went, "You ain't getting none of this." And then I asked her how old she was, and I went, "No, I'm fucking not." Because for me, that was a bit young, even though I was 26. Left it, and then she sent me a lovely message saying, "When we going to link up again? Link up.
Oh.
How street is that?"
Yes.
I went,
Was this a long time after you?
two or 3 weeks, and well, 2 or 3 weeks. I was like, I can't be dealing with this. She's a very young girl. I felt a little bit weird. I thought at least wait till she's 20.
And so you went back and...
Well, yeah. We went back, went on a date, and it was she's just a lovely girl. You know, she's a lovely girl, she got me out of the depression, if nothing else. And eventually, we'd have a lovely time in that little bedroom with the windows.
With those magnificent breasts.
Getting out, man. What a woman.
Did you?
She's a wonderful woman.
When you say she got you out of the depression, was it? It wasn't just purely.
Well, I just felt like an absolute failure.
Yeah, but what I'm saying was it the way she spoke to you. It wasn't just, oh, I've got a great girlfriend with fabulous tits. It was obviously, she was obviously making you happy in other ways.
Yeah. No, what it is, even now, she's the most, not just of me, but the most caring and supporting, open-minded. Like, she lets me be me. You guys have known me long enough now. This must be quite difficult for a partner sometimes. You've seen it. Tits out on the stage, just doing silly things, behaving probably quite unacceptable to a relationship. But she's very supportive, and my therapist once said to me, that's another long story, but we don't need to go deep into that. But my therapist said to me, do more of what makes you happy and everybody around you will be happier. So me not being me is a real problem for everyone else. You know?
Yeah.
And Shaun has never wavered from me being me. From the second I met her, she's like an absolute gem. And I love her probably more now than I've ever loved her, man. She's
How
an
long have you
absolute...
been together? How long?
Oh, God, no. I do love her, but I just can't remember the dates.
10 years?
No, we're closer to 20.
20 years.
Yeah, so if I was 26 and I'm 46 now, so 20
20
close to 20.
20 years,
Fucking hell,
there we
26 I've been together.
Nice.
She's magic, man.
She's a good lass.
She's a good lass, and dare I say it, she's aging very, very well, and I find her more attractive now than I ever have. That's so soppy, man.
That's
that out.
lovely.
Cut that right out.
No, it's nice.
That's ridiculous, man.
They
I love
always
her.
say behind every great man there's a great woman, don't
Yeah,
they? And so
that's very true.
That's a good, nice story. So Shaun's letting you doing DJing and stuff, and she's following your career. Like I said, we talked about that first gig. What happened after that shit gig? Why on earth would you carry on? Did you ever get another gig?
Yeah, well, I'd had a few gigs. I was with my best mate. Rest his soul, is gone now. My best mate, we developed.
What's his name?
Tristan Smith. He was my best mate. We met whilst I was working on a driving job, and we just got chatting about music, and we were both into the same thing, because Hard House was kind of on the back burner at that point, because you start to there was a little gap, wasn't there?
Yeah.
2006, 2007.
But it was about that time, and we just got chatting about music, and then one thing led to another. We were mixing together. We made a few tracks together. Stuff like that. It was house and techno, underground house and techno. No, not really funky or good vibes only, which is what I do now. But we just were doing that for a bit, doing our own events. One of them was called Revolution. It was in our local town. We had an event called Revolution, which was a lot of Polish and Russians and all that, or whatever, or the Eastern Europeans. They used to go home at Christmas and come back during the hot season. So we'd put this mad sort of techno party on called Revolution with the back to front R, and we just were smashing it. We were for a while, and then we did an event called D5 Underground in Worcester, which has got so many mad memories and it's so good. But it was at this point in Worcester, because we were DJing with Tractor and controllers and this, that and the other. Remember Tractor? It's still going, but it's not as prominent now. So I was using an old MacBook, it was new then, on this stage with my controller and the vibration and all this. We had all sorts of good things going, and the laptop fell 12 feet off the stage, and that's it now. Your laptop goes, you've got no music, right? That's not cool.
It's not cool.
So it was embarrassing. And
night over then.
Well, luckily he was able to do his thing straight away, but I was like, that can't happen again.
No.
That's game over for Tractor. But it was at that point all my music had gone, so all I'm left with now is my records. And we built the shed. We haven't got to that bit yet, have we?
Yeah, well, let's get onto that now.
The shed, yeah.
So we'll just park that bit there. All right, the shed's built at this point. So my little boy, CJ, absolute apple of my eye. He don't fall far from the tree. He's a lovely lad, and I'll see what he's up to. CJ, I'll see what you're up to. So we had a 2-bedroom house in a nice little village. It's quite fancy where we were, but it was expensive, and 2 bedrooms. Now there's 3 of us. So all my DJ kit and studio was in that room. But then I've obviously got the missus up the duff. It's okay for a couple of years. And then he's starting to become a little bit of a rebel. You know, around age 2 or 3, they're starting to touch buttons and stuff and start smashing shit up. So she was like, out you go. You either end it or you take it elsewhere. And I went, we've got a beat up shed out here. We'll knock it down and we'll put a same size shed, a good one there. So we got it off the shed man, which I'd like to be that man now, but it's different. It's a 6x10 shed Mark 1 we call it. It's actually tiny, literally a quarter of this room, right? This table, in fact. And Tidy would live stream. No, I was just mixing in the shed at first. It was a studio as well, making music. That kind of fizzled out because I didn't know what I was doing. And then my mate Tristan said to me, this is going to be the making of you. I had this really good green laser. It was soundproof. It sounded like this. It was really well done. And he went, this is going to be the making of you, John. And I went, whatever. Just drink more beer. So moving on a little bit, we're just having loads of sessions in the shed. I mean, it's almost there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Having a session in the shed, getting smashed, playing techno, arguing, saying this techno track's better than yours. Playing the odd hard house track, and he's like, what the fuck? Oh, I miss him, man. And he'd tell me about Scott Project. He seemed to love Scott Project. I went, that's not hard house. And right, we're back to now. We're there. The laptop has fell off stage.
Right.
What am I going to do now? I can't battle with my friend anymore. Bearing in mind, he said this is going to be the making of you. That weekend before, I watched E&M on your Tidy live stream. I'll never forget it. It was so inspiring and groundbreaking at the time. It looked like it was filmed on a potato, but you were still moving the camera around.
It was the first, for people who don't know, it was I think 24 hours before, Facebook said you could go live if you had a following of over 10,000. The Tidy page had, so we got E&M down that weekend, and he did a live stream in the Tidy offices in Northampton, and we had 1,400 people watching, not live as it went live, and every week we did a live stream. There was over 1,000 people watching because
that's right.
Nobody else was streaming.
Nobody was doing it.
And
it was like everybody was like, ping, we're in. Well, something must have changed soon after that, because I think you did a few more before that, right?
Well, I think
weren't the first one.
I'm not sure. I think E&M might have been the first one, or maybe I did the first one. You know, it was a Tidy Boys one, probably.
I might have been getting my timings a little bit wrong, because it wouldn't have been the week after, but that was the thing for me. And I was like, well, if that's happening there, I think maybe a couple of weeks later they'd loosen the criteria a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I was able to go live on my iPhone 7. I'll just put it in the corner of this shed Mark 1. Crazy green laser behind me. Really brilliant laser that was. And my records. And I just started going live. And I went from 50 one week to 100 the week after. Max, you, BK, everybody started to jump on who's this crazy bastard playing records in a shed no bigger than my shoulders.
Yeah.
And it went absolutely ballistic. But that all came about off the back of dropping a laptop, and I thought, I hadn't played records for 6 years at the point. And I was like, it's fucking easy at the time.
Yeah.
It's not so easy now. I don't know why. too many bad
You
habits.
did become this phenomenon overnight. We were like, who's this Jon Hemming dude?
I was
Well,
just
we invited you
bouncing.
down, didn't we? We said,
Well, that's what happened. It's like within less than a month, I was getting thousands of people like the tidy things, and I was like, these people watching and commenting and giving me shit were the legends that I've silently observed forever. Because at the point, I wasn't just like, oh, I'm not into hard house. I was following that tidy page and just observing. I thought, I've got nothing to say, so I'm just going to watch because I'm still a hard house fan. You always are, right? But then Max Mozart had messaged me and said, my dad wants you at the fucking HQ tomorrow. And I went, fucking what? I thought, hang on, Max, are you really his son? And he went, yeah. And I went down that following weekend. And you never asked me to. You just wanted me to do a little bit of a mix. And then I was fucking nervous, man. Because it's fresh. It's all fresh. Oh my God, it's Tidy Boys. I still feel like that, by the way, guys.
Oh, bless you.
I do actually still feel like that.
but didn't you get into some shit about the shed because you had this strapline which was Save Hard House?
Save Hard House, but I mean, I understand the controversy, but I wasn't trying to save Hard House. It was a community message.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And also, I was a little bit green to the whole situation.
Yeah.
But I had this mad strapline, hashtag Save Hard House, which is why I think all the people came in, because hashtags were huge then.
Yeah.
So you just hashtag Save Hard House, and anybody who types it, it's everybody's on me. But I got death threats, man.
Really?
I got a death threat. I won't name some names, but there were people who were saying, how are you saving Hard House, playing all that vinyl shit?
Wow.
And that's not Hard House anymore. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, well, the only reason I'm not playing digital is because I haven't got anything to play them on. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm not adverse to new music. In fact, I love it because I was playing techno the week before. Do you know what I mean? I'm playing brand new music.
People are passionate about music, though, aren't they? And particularly the Hard House lot. They are very into it, and if you do say the wrong thing, they sort of jump on it, don't they? You know what I mean? And maybe the people that were giving you death threats or were angry, they were saying Hard House doesn't need saving. Maybe that's what they were thinking.
Yeah, but it wasn't about need saving. It was about prolonging life. It's about let's just keep this rolling forever and ever and ever. And like we can all just keep moving. I also believe we can always keep developing something to the point that sometimes you forget about this bit down this end. I'll go back to the whole Tony DeVitt thing and that feeling that I had when I heard that music. That was Hard House. We just didn't call it Hard House. And the second I lose that essence in what we're doing today, be done. So let's fucking save Hard House, man. Let's just keep it rolling. Yeah. Just even if it's just a little nod.
I think we come to a point where it, with all due respect, it probably doesn't need saving. It sort of saved itself.
Needs saving.
It sort of saved itself because we've done other podcasts, and now it is very popular again.
I don't use save. I don't use that anymore, by the way.
No, but if you look like Hannah Lane, Patrick Toppin, Eats Everything, they're all playing Hard House. So everything comes back round again in 7, 15, 20-year cycles.
Yeah, it's them numbers as well.
And we are on a period, I think next year is going to be the big boom of Hard House, whatever you want to call it. So,
I mean, just to put it out there, I'm not trying to save Hard House anymore, guys. It was a thing.
Yeah.
It was a thing that was controversial, and I had a battle on trying to make sure people knew that I weren't trying to be the next saviour of Hard House.
It put you on the main stage, so to speak, didn't it? Suddenly.
Well, I'd gone to Tidy HQ, and I chose to go live. I put my phone in the corner on them magnificent speakers, which I now own some of them speakers, the really good Mackie ones.
Yeah.
You remember them?
Yeah.
So good. So I put my phone on there, and I went live for 2.5 hours playing records. And I totally fucked up that first mix. You can still watch the video now. And Amadeus rolled in, and I was like, I either crumble or we carry on. And I carried on. And the week later, I was Wax Format resident. Week after that, I was Sunday Central resident. I was like, fucking hell, I'm now busy doing multiple gigs every weekend for the next 4 years before lockdown, to the point, which probably leads in quite nicely, guys, I played the Opera House.
Well, I was going to mention that. Your favourite gig, I think you've always told us, is about
the gig.
The gig at the Opera House, where you went as a young soldier or a young man to go slinky, and there you are on the stage, and we did this really thing, which we're going to do again, where the curtains were shut for the first hour with easy listening music, because we always think the first DJ gets a rough deal. He's playing to the bar staff and the 6 people.
I didn't get it.
But what we do at the Opera House, we shut the curtain for the first hour, play easy listening, and then when that curtain opens,
it was wild.
It was full,
wasn't it?
Can you remember that experience?
Do you remember what I said after? A lot of people took it the wrong way a little bit, or thought, What do you mean by that? I said to Adam Dixon, I might have said to both you in the green room, I went, guys, I've completed it. For me, look, listen,
You've
I
arrived.
know there's 100 more fantastic bookings, and I've still got more that I want to do, right? But when you've spent your entire life as a raver looking at the likes of you guys and Savage, Lisa Lashes, going right back, Tony DeVitt going, look at that.
Yep.
Especially at the Opera House, right? And then you're there, but not only are you there, you've got a fucking curtain and the greatest introduction ever known to man.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck it hell. I mean, did you see the video? Because I got Shaun to record it.
Yeah, well, we've got our own video.
Yeah.
We've got footage of that curtain opening and you backstage getting all nervous.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm loving everyone. I'm bouncing about like I can't fucking believe it. I still can't believe it now. And whenever I'm feeling like I've got nothing left or I'm not inspired, I'll just bang that video on. I'm like, that's the definition for me of complete. You can put me on any stage. You can put me on Tomorrowland main stage. You can put me on Magna. Listen, Tidy Weekend is unbelievable. I've loved it. Second best. Right, still unbelievable. But when you've got this overwhelming connection to Bournemouth and the Opera House especially, and then to do that within 3 years with the backing of you guys and that intro and then
reveal. And it was,
I just sang to you.
It was packed, wasn't it?
It was busy.
Yeah.
But I thought, and poor Shaun, she's over there going, fucking hell, there's not going to nobody be there. And because people are quite quiet, aren't they?
Yeah.
And that curtain opened and she went, fucking hell. So I got my little video and I'm like, oh, Shaun, we have arrived, mate.
So that's a special moment in time for
Well, that's
Jon
the
Hemming.
Opera House, isn't it? It's power.
It is the best.
What are you talking about the Weekenders? We always ask people this as well. What's your thoughts on the Weekenders? Everybody seems to still love them. We're doing them obviously next year, April, new venue.
Yeah, I mean, I've had such a privileged position with the newer Weekenders, especially after lockdown. Not only to play the main stage and close room 2 on another occasion, but to have our Shed brand host, for me, one of my most iconic, memorable memories, and actually one of my greatest prizes, I'm very proud of. We did remember the Shed picnic on the first time we did it? I was like, we had a roadblock situation. You guys turned up.
Yeah, we were there.
It was magic. I mean, I was going through a little bit of a sticky time as well with the loss of my best mate Tristan as well. So I was like, you know what, let's fucking have a drink. And I was shouting obscenities to people on the mic. Get your tits out. And blah, blah, blah. Do you know what? I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I will.
Go on.
I was on a chair on the barrier shouting out to the audience, we had a thing called Shed bread. So we toasted the Shed logo on bread, launching it out to the crowd, and the seagulls were swooping in, having a great time. But whilst I'm stood there, showing off, Jon Hemming showing off. This guy in front of me started undoing my zip.
Got your knob out?
Tried, but do you know what? I was just like, what the fuck's going on here?
Wasn't Lee Green, was it?
It looked a bit like Lee Green, but it weren't him. And he started trying to get me cock out. And I was like, what are you doing, mate? But looking back, I'm thinking, I left that too long. I'm like, you can't touch that. But it's like I was loving the attention. I was like, fuck, it's a bloke.
We've never had that done. We've signed lots of tits and we've had some good stories, but I don't think nobody's ever tried to get a cock out while we DJ.
At this point, no.
You watch, it'll be a mad craze now.
They will now. You will now.
But the weekends are a special occasion.
It's something else, yeah. I've got just some really good times there, opening the main room, closing room 2, the bizarre connections that you make with people you perhaps wouldn't really talk to normally.
I mean, as a clubber as well, it's
this is what I'm talking about. Yeah.
The friendships you make, it's just the memories. There's nothing like it, is there?
No, you've got. I think I went to the first 5 or 6, had a break, came back to this next generation of Tidy Weekenders, and I do believe that the Tidy Weekenders now are on a par, if not better, than they've ever been.
Well, it's going to be exciting the next year because we are, as you know, we're moving to Great Yarmouth. And it's going to. I think it's just going to reinvent the Weekender. It's going to be a new experience and a new venue. it's more of an underground feel, I think.
Well, underground's always good.
Lower ceilings.
Yeah, I think the main rooms. I think people are going to be surprised. The main room's got a lower ceiling, but it's got the vibe of room 2, which I used to love at
I
Prestatyn.
really love room 2.
Yeah,
because I've been lucky enough to do both now. So if I'm going to compare the room 2 event, I mean, I remember messaging you saying thank you so much for that, because that was a special occasion.
Well,
that room 2 is magic.
And
I
I
love
think that's what's going to be the main room at Great Yarmouth. Has got the vibe of room 2, so we're looking forward to that. So obviously, it's been a lovely career from all the way the Jon Hemming journey.
Yeah.
But if you've ever watched a podcast, Andy always ends the podcast with a fantastic question.
I invented it myself.
He invented it himself. He did it himself in the car.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Desert Island Discs that meets Death Row. You know, it's a decision. You've got to make a choice. And so, as a clubber and as a DJ, but now into your DJ world, you've got one last gig. This is it, yeah? Like your final meal. So you can choose one club that you're going to do your final set at. And at that club, you're going to choose one record to open with, one record to drop in the middle of the set, and your final record. So give me the club first. That's your final destination.
Controversial, but I've been fortunate enough to go to a club called Bergin in Germany, which is a club you can't get into, especially
In Berlin.
in Berlin. People go to Berlin to queue up and not go to the club. It's like a thing. But I'd love to do it there. It's a proper techno club because I do love techno. I might have mentioned it already. I properly love it. And although that's not really probably what you'd expect from a hard house DJ,
It's a big, huge affair.
It's an absolute museum of. It's not steampunk, but that's the only way I can describe it. It's art. It's a fantastic place, right? You walk in and you already feel like this is special, and you haven't even got to the main room yet. So you've got the main room, and then you've got the panorama bar, and the sound system in there it's all function one looking stuff. There may be something else going on, but there's nowhere on that dance floor where your jeans don't shake, but it's not loud, but it's clear. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I imagine that's what's. I mean, aside from Bergin, it'd probably be Space would be my other choice.
Right.
But Bergin, because it's so elusive and there's hardly any photos. I mean, you know.
What are the people like in there?
Well, it's a 72-hour club, so it'll open Friday and finish late Monday, non-stop. And the first 20 people in the queue from me and Shaun were sent away. But there was people in front of them that got in, of all kinds. So we got up the stairs, and this one guy was to be about anything between 65 and 80. He was having a fucking good time with his cock out.
With his what? He got
It was
jeans, but he
fucking-
got it out, or he got no
No.
pants on.
Well, what they're doing, I was seeing all these like young kids and that with their little fucking hot pants on and just doing what young people do. This old bloke was sat on a little bench in front of me and Shaun with this enormous anteater-sized penis. It was like a
God.
fucking trunk. And I was like to Shaun, Shaun, are you going to say something, Ryan? He went, no, he's having a good time.
Was anybody else naked or just
Yeah. Yeah, but this is the only thing I can focus on right now.
Was it floppy or hard?
It's floppy, but massive. Amadeus, it was like a baby's arm.
Really? Wow.
Okay, so you're there at this club, Bergin it's called.
Bergin, yeah.
Bergin, man with a huge penis, somewhere between 65 and 80. So there you are, you're behind the decks, you're going to play your first tune to the man with a big cock. Off you go.
So yeah, I mean, I'd love to start dropping like random techno tracks, but it's not what what's inside is what I want to play. So I'd probably start with. Well, I'd love to play one on my own, but I want to go deeper. If it was my own, I'd have to play my first untidy release, which was Tits and Potatoes. Not just for the title. There's a great little bit in it which says I literally don't give a fuck. And I do give a fuck, guys, but it's a great sentiment.
Good tune.
So that's a good one. It's got great bass, sound great in that club. But I'd probably go Passion Gat Decor.
Oh, quality.
Tony DeVee's favourite record of all time.
Yeah, I found that out. And I'd love to do a really authentic remix of that. I know Dan Madams has done one. I've not been able to get hold of it, but I'd love it, Dan.
Okay, so you've set the tone with Gat Decor.
It's peak time now.
So middle of your set, you're going to drop a bomb. Everyone's just going to go nuts.
There's so many. This is a difficult one that changes all the time.
But think where you are. You're in Berlin.
Well, it could be anywhere. It's the club.
It's
a tough one. An all-time favourite. is Cortina music is moving, but that changes a lot. But purely because of the drop and that piano, I think that gets a reaction all the time. I was lucky enough to play that at the Opera House as well, and it's a wild experience watching it. So I'd probably like to play that in homage to the early days of figuring out hard house. But if not that, something from OD 404 or something like that. I don't know, but probably that track.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
What about the end then? They've turned the lights on, it's finished, but the promoter said, you can play one more, John. Turn the lights back off. One more tune. One more
tune.
And they're shouting shed as well.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So
what's it going to be?
There's
finish them off.
There's loads of shed anthems. That's for sure.
But you've got to finish them off now. It's going to go off.
There's a track that I really do love, which is quite modern and maybe controversial. If not a classic, it'd be something which is relatively new. What's it fucking called?
But they're going to want a classic, aren't they, John?
Do they want a classic?
The confetti cannon is full.
Yeah, it's your final track.
I know, because there is one that I want to play, but it's not. I think there's a better one. I think there's a better one.
They're getting impatient, John. They're stamping their feet.
I know, yeah. I'm trying to
You're flicking
quick,
through the box,
you've got to flick.
flicking through the box.
Quick,
yeah.
John.
It's your last track you're ever going to play,
Come
by
on.
the way.
Raff and Grit Greengrow, Propaganda 303, OD 404, no, Bass Graffiti remix. I think the breakdown and when it drops and there's a little percussion bit which is absolute electric. Do you know what I mean? It rolls with a heavy drop with a big trancy breakdown and then this little which is kind of out of time but in time, and it's pinging for those if you know what that means.
Love it.
Wow,
Such a tune that is. But there's probably a load of others as well. But I'm annoyed now.
Well,
You had to make a choice.
I've had to fucking...
You're going to be driving home. Oh, by the way, talking about driving, one question. In the daytime, you drive chickens to Scotland.
Well, yeah, not just to Scotland, all over the country. But yeah, I deliver chicks, day-old chicks, to their lovely new farms.
Yeah.
Not for KFC, for laying eggs.
Yeah.
And I collect eggs. So I should have bought some eggs up for you guys.
How many chickens in a big van?
You
in
get
a big lorry?
70,000. And do you know the good thing about this as well is that like they make a lot of racket together. They sing.
Do they?
If I tell them to shut up, they do.
Really?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Shut up. And then off again they go.
Wow.
Cheeky
That's
buggers.
a lovely
It's a
story.
beautiful story to finish.
Yeah,
the
that's what I do.
podcast
Yeah,
with.
I mix music and deliver chicks.
I love that.
You like that, yeah?
Because I thought you were going to be taking it to KFC, but this is a
No,
lovely story.
no, yeah.
Although you did tell me one lorry driver accidentally took him to KFC.
Yeah.
He left the heater on.
Left the, yeah. Shouldn't talk about that. He might listen. Yeah, he killed 60,000 chicks.
It's going to be a written warning, that, isn't it?
I'm not sure he's even there anymore. He might have left.
So
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, on that bombshell of killing 60,000 chickens. But we've enjoyed the journey that is Jon Hemming.
Yeah.
We knew it would be a good story, from being related to Ozzy Osbourne through to watching a man in a Berlin nightclub with his big cock.
Anteater size cock.
Fucking massive.
Well, if you enjoyed the Shed, where can we find out more about Shed, just to tell the ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, so you've got shedsessionshq.co.uk. You can get some great information, great content, and great products.
Brilliant. And we'll be seeing you at the Weekender, of course.
I hope so, yeah.
Well,
Jon
definitely.
Hemming. Jon Hemming, thank you very much.
Are we main stage or anything like that?
We'll see. It'd be a surprise. So, yeah, check out Tidy 30. Well, go to tidyweekender.co.uk if you want tickets, because there are still available. And we'll be seeing you at the Weekender, John. Definitely.
Lovely stuff. Thank you for having
God
me.
bless.
Really
God bless.
appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Beautiful.
Let me check it.
Better than last time.
Yeah, well, thank you. So let's go for a piss break.
It didn't record, Charles.
Fuck off.